Episode 9, man.
That's good.
Episode 9, I'm back here with my friend Joe. Just came off a hot national LARPing championship.
It was a well-deserved dub. And I'm here with my friend Chris, who thinks that all teachers deserve less than minimum wage.
Well, not all of them.
Most.
Just the part-timers.
Yeah. Substitutes.
No, don't listen to anything this guy says. But we're happy to be back, episode 9. As you can see, Joe's got the summer beach poncho. Weather's been great lately.
Yep.
Things are looking good. We
Feels great.
rekindled our relationship with our sponsor. Not that it ever died out, but we're back.
Yep.
We support Red Bull. We're very thankful for them. They hit us with giving us wings for the summer.
Damn surfboard box.
You see this surfboard box and another new flavor. I'm going to read you guys this little case here. Make waves with the new Red Bull Summer Edition. Now with a burst of white peach flavor.
Skirt.
It's your perfect summer sidekick to get you up and outdoors to make the most of your days. From morning jogs to city strolls or hangouts by the water. Crack open a refreshing Red Bull Summer Edition. Grab your matching beach cover up and dive into summer wherever it takes you. So we're going to try these.
Hashtag please recycle.
Yeah, facts. Recycle these, boys, if you're getting them. But we're going to try, what white peach is the flavor that they gave us. Extremely warm. Extremely warm.
This boy has not been refrigerated since transit. It's going to be a little... We got the chilled mugs, though. It will not have any bearing on the quality of the drink.
Yeah,
I'll give you that one. Just had to finger up
anything
this one.
you drink out of the Thinking Beers mug, for you guys that haven't seen it up close, I'll try and get you a good view of it. We got a mug with our logo on it.
Yep. Good time to mention, we're selling the road to Toledo. We're 42% of the way there, so still make sure you guys are subscribing and you're liking. And hats still on the vibe. They're coming soon. We're going to order them up soon, so we'll keep you guys posted as soon as those will be available for purchase.
Right. We just selected the color. It's going to be like that kind of neutral, like slightly off-white with the black brim. Black, what do they call them? Those dots on the top of the hat have a name. I forget what they're called, though.
Why?
I think it's sort of like how an aglet is for a shoe.
It just technically has to have a name.
Yeah. So we're going to just try these.
Smells great. Little taste test for the boys. Delicious. That is perfect.
That was really good.
It was really good. I really enjoyed that.
And to keep the tradition alive, I can take your mug.
Shout out Red Bull one last time. Shout out Walters. Best sponsor we've ever had, and we love the white peach flavor. Go get yourself one.
Yeah, that might be my favorite we've tried so far.
Yeah, it was delicious.
That was very, very good.
We got another little treat for you guys, though.
We have... Actually, I'll grab the case so they can see what the packaging and branding looks like.
What we're working with here.
We got some Weihenstephaner's, world's oldest brewery.
World's oldest beer.
Probably.
It has to be.
Beautiful can.
It smells ancient.
On the packaging, too, it says Weihenstephaner's Hefe Weissbier Premium Bavaricum.
Bavaricum.
So we're
ready or not, here we Bavaricum, brother.
Extremely excited.
We're going to be rating them on animals today. Oh.
It's like a Guinness, bro.
Yeah, I'm going to go with like a sea lion. It tastes like it hangs out by the ocean all day.
That's a great pick.
Yeah.
I will go with elephant.
Nice.
It's like old and large and
right.
probably like,
Yeah.
But it gives me that gold like royalty. I feel like elephants are royalty in India, I think.
They are.
If you injure them, like you're going to jail for life.
Yeah.
Something like that. So
anyways, Chris, what's the 411, man? What you fucking been up to, dude?
Thanks you for asking, brother. Last episode, if you were tapped in, shout out my pops too. He's been tapped in, but
shout out.
If last episode, you know that I was about to ask a fine, nice lady out.
Mm-hmm.
I basically did exactly what we said. So we went to this place called Fixin's. It's like I'm also learning what Detroit soul food is, and it was great. I mean, Detroit soul food is basically just Thanksgiving dinner,
Yeah.
like at a restaurant, which is what restaurants probably should be in America. But anyways, fried chicken, mac and cheese, potato salad,
A lot of seasoning.
a lot of seasoning.
Big cholesterol spike.
Oh yeah, and then very good though. Good dinner, nice home meal, feeling great. Walk back to her place.
It's funny too. You
ahead.
get that meal, you're probably filled to the brim, stomach's bulging, and you got the meat sweats right when you're about to pop the Q.
No, I was good. We split like 5 pieces of chicken, and I was mainly eating. We got an appetizer, it was like fried tomatoes, which I've never had before.
My grandma from Kentucky eats those all the time.
Yeah, I think it is a southern thing.
No.
They were pretty good. I hate it when you're at a restaurant and you're like asking your server, hey, what's popular here? What do people get? And they say, everything's great. I can't pick one thing. It's like, no, tell me what I should get. I'm here for my first time. I don't know how often I'll be back.
A good server is going to tell you what they like. A great server is going to tell you the most expensive thing on the menu so they can get a bigger tip.
Yeah, I always notice when they do that too.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll call them out. I'll be like, you just said that because it's literally 3 times as much as everything else on this menu.
3 times as much for a reason.
But no, good food, walk back, pretty standard, just like you said, short and sweet. Would you like to make this official? I've been thinking we should make this official. So
It's about damn time.
a quick yes. We were going to go back, but I was like,
Did you catch
it
after?
feels we did.
Make out or no tongue?
Just a little smooch, just
Okay.
a couple, like a quick 1, 2, 3, and then you're out of there. And then, and then we were about to go back, but I was like, it would only be right for us to go to like kind of our spot. So we went back to Speaker Box, which you've been to. I love that place. It's awesome. We got Deuterinos. They're like this coffee drink where Joe thought he got drugged. Yeah, they put some beans on there. So that was good. Doing normal relationship things, getting more comfortable with each other. So it's not like you have to, but at the beginning of the relationship, I feel like it's always like lots of dinners and whatever, and then you kind of ease into the movie going scenario. So that's where we're at. We saw Sinners. I did not like it. I was not a fan of the movie. Basically the whole movie's pointless. It was good. It was good for 70%. And everyone was clowning Josh Allen because they're like, oh, his girl, like Michael B. Jordan, Nothing really even happens there. And then just not a good look for the fellas. So I'll just keep it at that.
We can precursor this with the fact that it's got about 100% on every movie rating website of all time. But it's, like Chris said, it's not a good look for the boys.
For guys like us, we lost a couple points in society from the movie. So
it's a good time for me to also showcase my new joke. I know it's not the exact premise of the movie, but black vampires be like, what up, blood? Come on.
Hey, not a bad joke. So very fitting for that movie. So I hope Joe goes and sees it because I kind of want his thoughts in the future. But
it'll probably infuriate me.
No,
it's basically just a race war.
I enjoyed the majority of the movie. I would love to live in those times, to live in the times of like, what I mean by that is the barter system.
Yeah.
How much more fun would it be? Like he's teaching this girl, like, hey, I'll pay you to wash my car situation. I'll pay you $2 to wash my car. Not watch. Yeah. And she's like, okay, yeah, that sounds great. And he's like, no, if we're talking money, we're talking negotiation, you should ask me for $5. And she goes, can I get $5? He goes, I can do $4. And then gives her $4. So like, I like that little bit in the movie. But he's teaching the young how to negotiate, how to handle money properly. I wish you could go into like a clothing store or any food restaurant and be like, hey, I'm not paying these prices you have on the menu. I'm going to pay, what do you say?
What I deem fit.
Yeah, I'm going to pay what I feel like I should pay here. So I like
if
that.
If that's the case, if I paid what I thought was worth it, I'd be paying $50,000 for the $5 box of Taco Bell. I'll get them every dollar I have for that.
Yeah, what if you just had to pay and it just had to like reach their threshold of like whatever, but you could say anything you wanted?
Yeah.
I don't know. Interesting concept. Not a good movie. Would not recommend it. It's probably going to win all the awards this year. Isn't there something about like when you release a movie at a certain time of the year, it usually does well too? I feel like they hit that. And then the only other thing I got to fill you in with, bro, home run streak stays alive, bro. Barry Bonds type of season this year. People keep talking about how big I am. I don't think I'm that big. I'm pretty average, maybe like 10 pounds, 20 pounds overweight, but they don't know it's muscle. I be in the gym. They don't know that I be hitting that.
I got the cut up on. You guys probably can't tell, but give you a little peek. What's going on down here? Come on.
In there. We'll give you a little preview on how he's been getting there.
Yep.
Later on.
More to come.
Softball, bro. Co-ed softball league. We're 3-1. We lost that first one of the double headers on the week 1, but haven't lost. And then we tied this week.
So you're 3-1?
12-12. Yeah, we were playing an undefeated team. We ended up having to wait. Our game time was like 6 o'clock. It got pushed to 7 because the high school team that we play at Belle Isle, which is beautiful. It's like a little island of Detroit that nobody knows about. You ever see those pictures of Detroit? It's like Detroit in the summer, and it's like Banff. I don't know if you ever heard of Banff, Canada, like the most beautiful place in the world. There's just like mountains. It's like, that's not Detroit. That's how I feel on Belle Isle. It's beautiful out there. You're surrounded by water. You can see Windsor on the other side. But it's a beautiful place, and I've been making magic happen on that island. So basically, here's how the situation went down. I'll try and shorten it or like sweeten it up a little bit. We're playing this team, best team in the league, best record in the league. They haven't lost yet. 4-0 coming into the game. And I'm like, all right, we got to put on we have 3 people on our team that have never played softball before. So we're already at a disadvantage. But we have a good time. We have great team camaraderie, and things have been going well. So long story short, we play 7 innings normally.
Yeah.
We were the home team, so we got to bat last. Top of 7, they go up by 2 runs. And then we were at the bottom of our lineup. We get the bases loaded, and this girl that I don't know if she's gotten a hit all season gets a single and scores 2 runs, so we tie.
That's clutch player of the year.
Yeah, we're like, everyone's hype. Everyone's like, yo, no way. Like, we're honestly okay with a tie at this point. Our game's been delayed. We were there an hour and a half later than we thought we were.
Yeah, I'm not going to send it into extra innings.
I go up to the ump, and I'm like, ump, what's the extra innings rule? And he goes, I don't know. Let me go find out. I'm like, I mean, that's the one thing you should probably know. But he runs to the other ump, comes back, and he goes, it's kind of like the MLB. It's like you start with 1 out and one runner
on base,
1 runner on second base, and then obviously the away team goes first, and then the home team has a chance to rebuttal, and that's it. No matter what happens after that inning. So they get up first. Their best hitter, this guy hit 2 home runs on their team against us that game. But it was funny because he hit the 3rd one in the same spot as the first 2. We literally had our outfielder playing on the warning track whenever he batted, and this girl caught it, and I'm listening to him. She caught it when he got to 3rd base. That's how high he hit it.
Damn.
And he's literally like,
he's either fast as hell.
He was like halfway there. I was playing 3rd.
Of all time.
He was playing, but he gets halfway there, and he's like, that is unbelievable that they just made that play against me. But long story short, they scored 2 runs in the first extra inning, and we're kind of like not feeling defeated. We knew there was a chance, but we were like, oh, it's going to be tough to come back from.
Yeah.
So long story short, we get to it's our last chance. We either are going to win or we're going to lose on this bottom of the 8th inning. Runner on second. The first girl of the inning that got up to bat, she gets out. 2 outs, bottom of the 7th, last extra innings.
Chrissy Bonds gets up to the plate.
I get up to the plate, bro. We got a guy on second base, and it was funny, too, because all of my home runs have happened after I have my, like, 2nd or 3rd beer.
Yeah.
But this game, I was waiting so long.
PED.
I was like, I went up to somebody that was just watching. I was like, oh, should I have another one? It was, like, number 4. Slam a beer right before I go out there. Go out there. I kid you not, bro. Deep left center field over the outfielder's head. We were playing on the baseball field, so it was really hard to get out of the field. But hit it all the way to the fence. I'm rounding second. And here's where there's some questionable activity that happened. Their shortstop was a girl, a woman, and she was like, you can't be in the base path. You have no reason. The ball's in the outfield. You can't be blocking where I'm at. She's literally like trying to get in front of me as I'm rounding second. So I take 1, 2 juke steps, and then I go and like kind of shoulder her out of the way. And she's like the whole time, she's like, I'm sorry. I'm like, all right, just get out of the way.
Yeah.
So I keep running, and I'm like, at that point, I'm going home. Everyone on the bench is like, go home. I score. We tie it up 2-2. And then the next girl gets out, and everyone's like, it's a tie. Yeah. Everyone was obviously super happy because we were like, not
Just
really
wanted to go home
favored
at
at
that
that point, down by 2.
Yeah,
And we got out of there with a tie against an undefeated team.
that's fire.
Their pitcher was wearing a mask. That's how serious they were taking it.
A mask?
Yeah, like a softball mask. Like how it's just
what the hell?
they'll wear it in the field. I think it's required for young softball players these days.
It's the pussification
But
of
man,
America.
it was a good feeling, bro. Nothing like hitting a home run in the bottom. Feeling like Javi Baez. I think he just did it twice this year already. But
take your team home.
no, like things are going good, bro. I got 4 on the year. The rest of the team has 1 total.
Home run derby. Get
So,
the man in.
I'm batting cleanup now, and I feel like I solidified my spot. I'm playing third base. I think I made like 8 or 9 plays too. It's not an I sport. There's no I in team, but there is a me in team, and myself is having a great time. So
True.
Things have been fun.
Yeah.
But that's basically what I've been up to, bro. That's what I've been doing.
Yeah, I've been up to nothing too crazy. I know last pod we were kind of prefacing the fact it was Cinco de Mayo and we were going to Lucha Libre after that. It was weird, to say the least. It was
a wrestling event with 150 people there. Maybe?
Wait, I would say pretty significantly less. I would say maybe there were 70 people and 40 of them were children.
A wrestling event that was paired with a Cinco de Mayo festival.
DJ, yeah.
Yeah, there's the dancers and a DJ and like taco stands, churros. I got some great churros.
Yeah, but all the wrestlers were, I would say the majority of them were divorced dads, probably trying to figure out what's going on in life. We got called out. Me, Chris, and our buddy were standing there, and the guy was like, "What France were you guys in, pussy?"
Mm-hmm.
What do you say?
He goes, "What sorority were you guys in?" We're like, all right, pal, like we're just standing over here by the porta potties, just minding our business.
Yeah,
drinking some Modelo's.
I was about to hop in the ring and fucking supine his ass into the ground, but let that one slide.
Joe's like, "Chris, you didn't say anything." I was like, he was talking to all of us. Why was it me that had to say something?
I didn't hear it at the time. If I did hear it, I would have been shirtless in that bitch, and I would have been for real throwing jabs.
Lucha Libre ended up pretty cool, though.
Pacquiao
it was funny because we went from that to watching the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah,
which was pretty fun.
It was an interesting day.
Joe's horse. Did Joe pick the right horse?
Sovereignty. Shout out. I think I mentioned in the podcast, but I picked the right horse. So that was a good day. Next day, went to a UFL game. I always get tripped up if it's USFL or UFL, but I think it's UFL. Went to go see hometown Michigan Panthers play the Washington Defenders. I guess the Panthers are one of the best teams in the league. Honestly, fucking electric, bro. I cannot describe how cool this was. Ford Field, but a tenth of the normal amount of people that are in there for a Lions
it's like a
game.
high school. Have you ever been to a high school championship
Yeah.
game there? Yeah, it's kind of like that.
It was, I would say it's maybe more people than that, but it was so low key. I loved it, dude. The people in the crowd were diehard. They knew every player. They were getting pissed as hell. It was funny. The officiating, they almost had, how in the NFL, they'll sometimes cut to Gene Steratore, be like, what's the ruling on this? The UFL has their headquarters, I think they said in Philadelphia or something, and they pulled the guy up on the screen for this one play, and he's just said, he completely contradicted himself. He was like, yeah, the guy made the catch, he passed the stick, so it's a turnover on downs, other team ball. And then we're like, wait, what's going on? And then the defenders just had the ball. But Panthers are sick. If you guys get a chance, look up Bryce Perkins. He's the GOAT. He's going to win MVP this year. We call him MV Perkins. But elite dual threat quarterback. His connection to Malik Turner is just chef's kiss.
So would you rather have him or Mason Rudolph on the Steelers?
I want the Steelers to sign him. He's so electric. They call him the Magic Man. This dude just cannot. He doesn't have the ability to not make his way into the end zone. So went to that. That was electric. We actually saw his highlight from that game on SportsCenter Top 10 the next day.
Yeah.
It was so sick. And then after that, we were out in Detroit. We stopped at a Cinco de Mayo vendor show. Most of it was gross, just like nasty fucking food that people made homemade. I wasn't fucking with any of it. Dumbass crochet bags and shit. So I was mostly just letting the girls look around. But I did find myself gravitated towards one particular booth. There's just a random 20-year-old dude peddling snacks from other countries. So it has nothing to do with Cinco de Mayo. And I'm like, what's that? He's like, Korean Doritos, bet copped. It was, I thought it was crawfish, but it turns out that it was shrimp and garlic. So I got that.
Of course.
Yeah,
obviously. You're eating shrimp chips.
Obviously.
At the fucking Mexican
the Cinco de Mayo. Yeah.
Cinco de Mayo.
So I got that, and then I got blueberry, raspberry Oreos. I ate them on the way home. The Oreos were fine. I wouldn't go out of my way to get them. These shrimp and garlic Doritos, absolutely horrid. It made me want to, It tasted like how fish food smells.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
100%. It was so bad. So ass. And I made the point, there's a very good reason why these snack foods are not in America, they just wouldn't do well. I can't believe that those people are eating them.
Right. Which brings me to give you guys some info. Like, next episode's episode 10. I was telling Joe, every big episode, every milestone, 10, maybe 15, we'll do some little. 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 would be crazy. But, which Joe pointed out, that's a couple of years
Like
away.
4 years down the line.
But basically, we're going to do something special. So episode 10, we got something special in store. We're not going to clue you in on it, but it's going to be maybe a challenge, maybe something a little different, maybe something unique. So it's happening, the following episode after this too. But it'll be funny, man. And
yeah.
You didn't like the shrimp chips, but you liked what were they, raspberry?
Raspberry and blueberry mixed together Oreos. It was mid.
Okay.
So we'll see what we get for the next episode. And then really the only other notable thing that happened to me was our maintenance was coming to our apartment that Thursday and Friday. So we had to get the cat out of Dodge. Couldn't have the cat lingering around while maintenance was lurking in the apartment. So my cat is originally a street cat. It's very skittish. And it has a very good judge of like mood changes. It knows exactly when we're trying to pick it up, and it's fast. It knows how to hide under couches in the bed. So initially when we were trying to get it out, it was hiding under the couch and shit. We eventually lured it into the bedroom, closed the door. The only thing it could hide under was the bed. It did. So I had to reverse deadlift the bed while Marissa crawled under there and eventually got her. We initially had a cardboard cat carrier that normally always worked. But when we put her in that, she somehow physically ripped a hole in the cardboard.
So it could just escape at any moment.
It got out. And then the cardboard was useless. So I just had to take a towel and kind of wrap up everything besides the head, and I was just carrying it around outside.
Yeah.
It looked so sketchy, probably.
Yeah, you're like smuggling a baby into your car.
Yeah. So we finally get it over to where we're taking it, and then we went to go pick it back up on that Friday, and it was staying in Marissa's old room. That's where we're spending most of its time, and her room's at the end of a hallway. It was doing the same shit, hiding under the bed and all that, so we came up with this scheme where I hid in the bathroom in the middle of the hallway and closed the door, and then Marissa lured out Kitna with a treat. So once it got to the end of the hallway, I ripped open the door, sprinted down, closed her door at the end of the hallway. So it was just me, the cat, Marissa at the end of the hallway. Couldn't escape. And then we won. Got it, finally. It's such a fucking process, dude. And she actually just cut my arm. You see that cut?
No. Oh, damn,
yeah, dude.
bro.
She gets after it, bro.
I always tell people, I kind of like when I get little cuts in my arms because I feel like it makes my vein, like it makes me more vascular.
Yeah, Marissa's been, dude, I'm vascular.
Yeah, we both are vascular.
Yeah, I've been eating a ridiculous amount of salt lately, trying to get myself to be more, vein popping out. That was pretty much what I was up to.
I feel like that's what catnip is for, bro. Like they love catnip so much because to lure them.
Dude.
Yeah, but they're attracted to it, but they will spaz. It's almost like cat drugs.
Yeah,
that's how I always look at catnip. But no, man, we both have had honestly, more has happened in the last 2 weeks than I thought. I didn't even realize that much. It's crazy how much Joe and I can get into over the span of a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we're not boring people.
Yeah, that's kind of part of why we wanted to do this too, because we just got lots to talk about, and like without us scheduling time to talk to each other every 2 weeks, it might not happen. Some stories may go untold, and we don't want any stories go untold. So
100%.
That brings us to our first segment.
Mm-hmm.
All repeat segments today. Nothing new. We're just sticking with the
playing
basics
the
here. But
speaking of playing the classics.
Well, no, it's not yet. But we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
It was such a good segment. Gem
of the week. Gem of the week, man. This is what we thought was the best, not the best, but just like a light in the week, our North Star of the week is probably a good way to put it. Segue. That's what my old boss used to say. She used to be like, you always got to look for your North Star. Like, what motivates you, or like, what are you working towards? And I was like,
stupid fucking
are you
comparison.
kidding me? I'm in sales.
Yeah.
So I'm looking to extort these humans for their labor and make money off of them. Sure, that's my North Star. But no.
It's almost like, I don't want to say ironic, but they use the North Star on the Underground Railroad. And you're talking about extorting people for their labor.
I didn't know that. What do they use the North Star for on that Underground?
To get north to safety. Yeah, I'll take another one.
Oh, really? That's how they got to safety, is they just followed the North Star?
I think so.
I didn't
That's
know
all they had back then was a couple stars, dude.
You're right. That's like what we talked about the other time, where it's like, how do people know where to go? It's like they were literally just following like landmarks and stars, and like, yeah, we're traveling in the right direction. But no,
I'm gonna be honest, this beer is ass.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's like a white Guinness.
It tastes like they fucking made this thousands of years ago. Technology got better for a reason. Brew my shit in the Rockies.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah, let's get those mountains blue.
Yeah. Fuck. It tastes like they blended up grass and threw it in dirt, spit on it, and then let it incubate for 10 years.
It was funny, bro. When I went to the grocery store to get these, the lady that was checking me out, she goes, "Do you want your?" And she was trying to basically say like beer in the bag, but she was trying to name it, and she's like, "Do you want your white weefin? You want your weapon? You want your?" I was like, "What? My weapon in the bag?" But she's like, "Whiten," and she's like, "How do you pronounce this?" I go, "I have no clue. It's my first time drinking." And she goes, "All right."
Yeah.
And that made me realize like how suspicious I look now that I'm not like around the age of 21 and like new and whatever. Like I remember, you know, I'm not going to expose myself here, but buying beer at Central and being like nervous, like, whatever. She definitely was like, if I was younger, she'd be like, this kid's definitely not 21 yet.
That was the first time I ever went to O'Kelly's I was using my brother's real ID as a fake ID, and they let me in. I went up to the bar and I was like, "Do you guys have any beer?" They're like, "Yeah, what do you want?" And I was like, "1 beer." And then it was also the night where they had $1 doubles, and at the time I was 230 pounds. I took a story of me with a double in my hand, and I was like, $1 doubles, don't mind if I do. I was like 17.
Yeah, bro. And I was there probably like 2 weeks later. I used my ID, and then my roommate used another one of my IDs, and we were literally trying to use the same ID there.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's so stupid, bro. But basically, my gem of the week, very sidetracked there, but what's been happening that's good to you? For me, just a quick, short, sweet story, bro. I was in the bathroom stall. That's where all good stories start.
Yeah.
And, you know, minding my business, minding my P's and Q's. I got this new game on my phone I've been playing. You're like the head coach of a football team. Pretty fun.
You saw a little slit in the door slide open.
No, it wasn't through the door. No. But basically, I got these new shoes. And that's what my gem of the week is, these shoes, to be honest. Like, they're dope. I should have grabbed one so I could show you guys, but Lululemon makes shoes. Who would have known? Who would have thunk it? My friend told me last week. I bought them on the spot because I've been looking for a shoe that you can kind of wear to multi-purpose, like wear at work, but wear to the bar, like kind of a white, off-white shoe. No logo really on it. It's like on the back. You can't really see it.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, these are perfect for work. So I bought them. And then I was in the bathroom, and all of a sudden, I see somebody with their phone underneath the bottom, and they're taking a picture of my shoes, but then their flash was on. So like the flash lit up the whole stall. And then I'm like, what the hell? And then they like quickly like turn their phone and like get it away. I'm like, was this guy taking a picture of my shoes because he wants my shoes? Like, but that's my gem of the week. Like, I have nothing really to say.
Did you find out who it was?
No, dude. What am I gonna do? I like got up and left.
You didn't say anything?
What am I gonna do?
Who are you, and why did you just take a picture of me?
I was just like, it made me almost feel better that I had cool shoes. I was like,
I don't know if they were looking for the shoes, brother.
It's like paparazzi,
I guess. Yeah.
But it wasn't like they were trying to go up at me. It was like definitely like pointed kind of lower towards my shoes.
Okay.
Maybe they were just taking a picture of their shoes and the flash came over.
Why? Why would you take a picture of your shoes?
But it reconfirmed how cool my shoes are, and I'm glad that I have the coolest shoes at work.
That's a good purchase for sure. Oh, my gem of the week's a little bit different. You guys probably get the running theme here. I don't even know what I'm doing with this segment anymore, but I like to talk about shit that I find interesting. So I'm going to try and make this as coherent as possible.
Extremely crazy to me how Joe finds these topics once a week. And this is what, like, just so everybody that's watching knows, if you've never been to the bar with Joe, somehow he has something that you've never heard of that he can explain and, like, give you a bunch of facts on for about 20 to 30 minutes, and you're just like, mind is in a blender. Like, this guy was sending me like, you know, here's some things if you want to look into it at all. I was like, is this English, bro? I have no idea what's going on. So I'm excited to hear this. You guys should be too. Sounds like our world is about to end, but all I want, I don't know anything about it, but no, I'm excited to hear Joe's. But yeah, I like how you do that, bro. Like, you're one of the only people I know that really will
Expand my horizons.
Yeah, like expand your.
But more so, I'm just learning about the stupidest trivial bullshit that will never impact my life ever.
Yeah, but you're
This
great
could.
in trivia. Like when we go to
True.
trivia.
Yeah, so I'll explain it ground up, right? So to start, the Earth's magnetic field. If you don't know why we have our Earth's magnetic field, it's all formed by the fact that we have molten liquid metals in the upper mantle of the Earth's fucking layers, whatever. Right. So this liquid metal produces electric, I guess, currents, waves, whatever you want to call it, and that shit like spreads out. Yeah, frequency. So like spreads out around the Earth. You guys have probably seen the diagrams where it's almost like a figure-8 loop around the Earth. And the reason why that is important is because the magnetic, what am I blanking on right now? The magnetic layer around the Earth, as well as our atmosphere,
Fields
protects us from a lot of the radiation that comes in from the sun. So here's where it gets a little bit interesting. I've been looking into this a while, and an event happened, which is the reason why I want to talk about it. But I explained this to a lot of people. A lot of people think that the magnetic north aligns with where the North Pole is on top of the globe, which is not the case.
That'd be my guess.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I know, but I'd be like, that'd be.
You would assume.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
But the magnetic field actually drifts a lot because, again, it's caused by that liquid metal in the Earth's upper mantle, and that shit obviously shifts a lot along with like the Earth's crust and all that. So as it moves, true magnetic north moves as well with it. It was in Canada for a long time. Now true magnetic north is off the coast of Canada on the east side. It's gotten to the point where true magnetic north is moving 37 miles per year. Where this gets interesting is because as the magnetic pole moves, it gets weakened, which decreases the Earth's ability to shield itself from solar occurrences, right?
Which would be, so it weakens our ability to block the sun?
Yeah, so I'll get into that in a second, but just a couple more fun facts for you guys, or I guess where this is all heading to, right? Because it's moving faster and faster every year. And in the last 10 years alone, our magnetic field has decreased in effectiveness by 10%. Overall by 10%, right? So it's moving faster and faster, and eventually it'll get to the point where true magnetic north and true magnetic south completely flip. And this has happened, it's historically, I guess, factualized that they have flipped several times in history. I believe I read that they have flipped 183 times in the last 180 million years, which if you do the math on that, in the last 80 million years. So if you do the math, true magnetic north and south flip about once every 60,000 years. And guess how long it's been since the last time it happened?
55.
A little bit longer, actually. So it's 85,000 years since the last time it's happened, which means we're long overdue, which some people believe it's why it's so accelerated right now.
So what happens when that happens, when it flips completely? What is the outcome or what happens?
There's a lot of theories about that. The main ones I'll get into, but it can be as severe flooding, complete weather changes. It can affect the Earth on its axis, which means seasons changing, global climate change, all of that stuff. That's why a lot of people don't necessarily believe, right? So another couple interesting points about this. I believe it was in Indonesia. There are actually glaciers on top of the mountains there. That would only be the case if it used to be in a much colder climate, which means that continentally everything switched. Same thing with woolly mammoths, because we have found woolly mammoths where they will have undigested plant matter in their bodies, but they're completely frozen in ice. That doesn't happen unless there's almost a cataclysmic flood that envelops them and then they freeze, right? So that's kind of the more severe stuff, but getting down to the nitty gritty, the more realistic things from this are two effects, right? So there's two different ways that the sun can impact us. The first one is a solar flare. That one, the sun has its own magnetic field as well. And because the sun is so hot, it's moving constantly, its magnetic field a lot of times will get almost bunged up, right? And it'll have so much energy concentrated in one area where it can't handle it at a certain point, and then it shoots out this radioactive energy into space. And most of the time, right, our magnetic field will intercept it. And the same way where our magnetic field is weakest north and south, that's where the auroras come from, actually.
Oh, like those the beautiful colors in the sky.
Like the Aurora Borealis.
Yeah.
So it's the radiation from the sun getting intercepted going down, and that's why it's on the north and south poles, because that's where it enters the atmosphere, and it's so much energy coming in that it creates that light illusion.
Yeah.
So that's the benefit of the magnetic field. So that's one way, solar flares. The second way, it's called a mass coronal ejection, and that is where the actual mass of the sun, the plasma that is on the surface of the sun, gets ejected into space, which can be billions of tons at a time. That is more so where our atmosphere comes into play to block that out, so it intercepts it, so we're not dealing with all this radiation. So, long story short, where this gets interesting is now that our magnetic field is moving so fast and getting weakened, I'm sure you guys have probably heard about the Spain blackouts by now.
Right? I haven't.
So 60% of their power grid went out at once. They're trying to come up with a lot of theories of how to explain this. I was listening to a lot of podcasts. The two factual things that happened that are verified are right before the blackout happened. Well, I guess I should say first off that Spain gets 60% of their energy from renewable energy sources like solar. And what they saw 5 minutes before the blackout occurred is that they got a tremendous spike in energy coming from their solar sources.
Whoa.
Interesting. And at the same time, the temperature in the area went up by 5 degrees instantaneously.
Wait, so what was the event that happened where this transpired? So, like, why did this...
Well, that's what I'm trying to explain. They're coming up with a lot of bullshit about a huge random spike in temperature happened, which kind of fried the
power grid.
Yeah, kind of their transformers and all that shit.
Yep.
But the temperature at the time was 70 degrees. It's far lower than what it would actually take, right? Mm-hmm. So they're basically doing everything they can to not blame this on a solar phenomenon. But like I said, increase in solar energy at the time, increase in 5 degrees at the time. Kind of the more speculative side is that there was a mass coronal ejection that happened at that time. Some people are saying that you could see the plasma coming into the ionosphere, and that is one of the weakest areas of our magnetic field right now, in that area of the kind of like Atlantic Sea, where they said that they could see the plasma coming in, following through kind of like the wind path where it would be led to Spain, Italy, and all those areas. So they lost 60% of their power grid from this.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, right before I left my last job, I was recruiting, for those who didn't know. I was getting people jobs. Everything was dead because COVID was over. So like all jobs, I used to hire people that were lab technicians for COVID that would make the test kits, people that would test the test kits once they were coming in and everything. I used to hire all those people and shift it over kind of just what's hot, right? Like I was hiring whatever was a popular career, like a well-needed career, because that's where the money was at. Now, right before I left, 75 open positions, Consumers Energy in Michigan. Consumers is a big utilities company in Michigan.
Energy conglomerate.
Right. They basically, which that always is a topic for another day, but energy companies, water companies, doesn't it kind of feel like that's a monopoly?
Yeah,
have a monopoly over a state, which shouldn't be illegal. But anyways, Consumers Energy was hiring 75 distribution engineers. Could be remote, could be whatever. And it was literally because our power grid can't handle the power that we're using from it. So I would imagine that we are ahead of Italy in the power and distribution space. I don't know, but I would imagine that would be my guess.
Their biggest thing is that they don't have that much infrastructure for it, and they're very, I don't want to say nationalistic, but they keep it pretty isolated where they control most of their energy supply. So, for example, when that got cut off, it took a while to get back on grid because they weren't really connected to the rest of Europe to get it back on power. Yeah. But that's just one example. It's the most recent one. This has happened historically. It's happened in Canada, I know for a fact, in the northeast of the United States. It's happened 2 weeks ago. The same thing happened, I believe, in the Dominican Republic, where their power grid went completely down. Same time where a mass coronal ejection came in through our atmosphere. So I think my theory on it is that the government doesn't want to tell people this is what happening because it'll cause widespread panic, right? But a lot of people are theorizing that's going to continue to get worse. Our magnetic field will get worse. There's a chance where if a strong enough blast hits us, strong enough solar storm, knocks off the entire world's energy grid, and then we're launched back into being cavemen.
Yeah.
And worst case scenario is when the poles completely flip, it causes some sort of cataclysmic energy or weather disaster phenomenon that truly impacts the human race. So
that's big, bro, and it is very interesting to think about. And like, that's what I did like about recruiting is you get a small taste of every industry. But they literally like our account manager was talking to like consumers, like business manager and everything. Probably shouldn't even be talking about this shit, but like basically they were like, yeah, our grid's not going to hold up if we don't do this.
Yeah.
Like, if we don't hire this many people this amount of time. Now, in those cases, you get government help and support and bonds and whatever, but
subsidies.
It is very fascinating because also when they first built the grids everywhere, nobody was anticipating iPhones being plugged in 24/7.
Yeah.
No one was anticipating how much power we're going to draw because we literally live off of screens and everything. They built this shit when it was like the old rotary phones.
You have one light bulb
and stuff like that. So I do find it fascinating. What was the like event? So it was 60% of Italy lost power for how long?
Instantly. It took about a week to restore everything because when a situation like that happens, if you try to flip everything back on at once, it'll just overload it again and shut back down.
Yep.
So that's just one example. And then the only other thing I'll add on, this is another interesting thing I kind of found through my research, but this is factual. So typically the Earth on its axis, they believe from when we got hit by the asteroid that either created the moon. That's the most likely hypothesis on it is when we got hit with the asteroid, created the moon, it knocked Earth on its axis, which is why Earth's actually tilted. And that's why our axis is typically on like a 23.5.
We got hit by the moon?
Not by the moon. We got hit by a massive asteroid and it sent the debris out that then collected to create the moon. But the asteroid was large enough that it knocked Earth off its axis. So we typically deal with like a 23.5 degree axis, which is why, the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere will have different seasons. It's because they're angled in a different way from the sun.
Yeah.
But something else that's happening right now is that humans have extracted so much groundwater from underneath the surface and brought it to the surface. It's enough to raise every ocean in the world by 4 millimeters, which might not sound like a lot, but it is. It's something like 200,000 gigatons of water that we've raised up to the surface. And so how it works, when something is rotating, it moves faster if its mass is closer to the center. That's why if you'll ever see a figure skater, when they want to go slower, they'll put their arms out. And when they want to spin faster, they'll put their arms in because their mass is closer. So what we've done by moving all this water up away from the center of its mass, we have actually moved the Earth's axis. So not by much, by about a meter right now, but it could have compounded effects if we keep doing it because we've moved so much weight away from its mass.
That's scary, bro.
So that's another thing to keep an eye on.
So on your expert opinion, how many years do we have left?
They say we're going to be completely wiped out by 2040.
2040?
Yeah. So that's about the time where we could, again, have our complete energy grid wiped out before then. But they say by 2040 is when the poles will flip, cataclysmic weather event, and then we'll be completely decimated.
You know what I will say, though? This is completely off topic, but I love the year that we were born. You can basically just be like, whatever year it is, you just add one, and then that's how old you are.
True. Yeah.
So we're like 40 years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I'd live a great life by 40.
Yeah.
I'm pacing a great life by 40.
We're getting there.
I love
until
my
we're fucking dead.
And how many we can put out a lot of episodes by 40. So
Yeah.
we got a lot of time to live. We got a lot of time to enjoy.
We're gonna have to do like what they did with that satellite mission Discovery or whatever, where they had that gold-plated record that contained our math, that contained some of our music and some of our laws of nature or whatever, because they thought if an alien found it, that it would transcend language and they would be able to understand. We should do that with our podcast.
I was just gonna say we need to make like if our population gets wiped out and some new population comes in and finds our history, we need to create a document of the most important things we would want to tell people. In my opinion, we should lie.
Yeah.
Like we should tell them that we were extremely advanced for whatever. Like we had flying cars, or we could build pyramids. We could do this.
Well,
And
pyramids are real.
yeah, but no one knows how.
True.
Like somebody should have left a little coin with inscribed, "Here's how we did this," so that we would have known. But we should do that sometime. That should be funny. That's like, another idea we have for the future is like creating our wills, which I think is a great idea.
Yeah.
But that kind of gets us to the next segment, which is another repeat.
Chris is starting off, so I'm going to pop to the bathroom real quick.
Basically, my life enhancer of the week, Joe actually has done very well. I'm very impressed with his pissing abilities this episode. I thought he was going to have to go right away. He was like, fair. Dude, if we chug this Red Bull, I'm going to have to pee 4 times. I was like, all right, well, chill, bro. Like, it'll be fine. That thing went down
got my eyes bulging.
Went down like water. Got me feeling nicey.
It was good.
But basically...
These, on the other hand.
Yeah, fuck. Dude, they're getting worse. Well, actually, I was going to say, though, my second one was worse than the first, but the third one's better than the second.
You're already on your third?
Yes, damn, I am.
I'm lightweight pussy.
So, life enhancer of the week is that these things actually play music, man. These records, and we got shout out old girl. She just bought this. We have like a place that we go to. It's awesome. It's called Paramita Sound downtown Detroit, and it's been around for I don't know how long. I think he said like 15, 20 years or something, maybe even longer. But it's a record store. They play music in the front. They play their vinyls. And then in the back, it's like a little tiny bar that can fit probably 10, 15 people.
I've been there.
And yeah, it's awesome, bro. That place is sick. But you got this there. It's Mac Miller's Tiny Desk Concert. Beautiful album. But I bought a record player.
Mm-hmm.
I just showed Joe it right before we started. Let me see if I can get this a little, just in case. Everyone be saying Joe's loud, I'm quiet.
Yeah.
Which is just a natural because he's got a lot of like passion behind what he says.
I'm like a Stalin-esque type of public speaker.
Yeah, definitely. He's got that kind of vibe to him. So basically my gem of the week is just I got a record player. I've been looking for him forever because people told me, and this is for chat. Chat, if you're thinking about getting a record player, do not go to Target. I have a buddy, Vinny. His girlfriend, not to disrespect, she just didn't know, bought him a record player, like one of the Victrola normal ones. Everybody gets them from Target. Ruined like 3 of his vinyls because he got it, played it, scratched it, can't play it again. So basically, I got an older one. It is like a newer version of a retro speaker. But I did some research. Speakers came with it, bought it on Facebook Marketplace. It was like the most chill interaction I've ever had on Facebook Marketplace. She was like, "It's going to be outside. Just Venmo me when you get here." I was like, this doesn't seem like, what if I just don't Venmo you? So I got it. I Venmoed. I even paid full price. I didn't even try to haggle. But she had a good deal. Like everything I've been looking at was like 120 plus, and hers was 80. I was like, it's not even really worth it. But basically, got it. I do think we'll talk about. I have no idea. The technology is way advanced for how it is. What I will say before we get into that is the old records, like you see like this Kiss album up here. We just listened to some Billy Joel that's behind Joe before we started the podcast.
Yep.
They sound so much better than like the newer stuff on there. And it might just be me because it's like, okay, the newer stuff was recorded on much better quality mics and probably audio mixed a lot better. They probably had a producer and stuff behind it, where the older stuff was like, I don't know how they recorded it. The booths, I'm imagining, were a lot different. So I do think that is one thing I've noticed is like, I don't know if I'm going to go out there and buy Juice WRLD on vinyl or like anything.
It doesn't give the same feel.
Exactly.
You want to hear real instruments, a real person singing if you're listening to something retro like that.
That's kind of how I feel about it too. So
we were staring at it for about 10 minutes. Like, how the fuck is this happening? It makes no sense.
Yeah.
It's like, I think it's something with the vibrations, the needles sending vibrations down there and it's making music happen.
It really doesn't make sense though.
I was saying it's more advanced technology than an iPod.
It is.
Yeah.
Like it would be harder to create this than to be like, I'm going to create something that can record your voice and whatever. I don't know though. I don't know what they were thinking about back in the day. They probably had no way to record it.
Yeah.
You can't just press record on an iPhone like you can now. You know?
Right. Quick funny story too about haggling on Facebook Marketplace. I was looking for a pull-out couch to bring up to college, and me and my dad went to go look. The whole time it was listed for $100. The whole time my dad's checking it out, making sure it's not fucked up, and it's this old lady, and she's like, "Yeah, my husband just died. I'm just kind of clearing out the house because my kids are gonna put me in a home," and giving us like this whole sob story. And I was like, "Damn, I'm starting to feel bad." My dad's like half listening to her, checking out the couch, and when she finishes talking, he looks up and he's like, "Best we can do is $80 cash." He's like, "Fine." So we just paid it.
No remorse. Like
Yeah.
you just we're here to haggle.
Well,
That's what I was talking
You
about
don't know if
earlier.
she's telling the truth.
That's what I was talking about earlier. Is like it's,
She was old enough. She
I
could have been a
wish-
Nazi.
I wish I lived in the time that you could haggle, that you could like do that shit.
You
all
still
the time.
can, dude.
Well, on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist, yeah, but
Yeah.
on in Lululemon, no. Like that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
You should be able to haggle on Lululemon.
It's not
I actually have like 2 pants. I do like how Lulu like gives you that return policy where it's like if at any point you have a defect in your pants, and like I wear my Lulu pants every day to work.
Defect.
I have 5 pair. Well, actually, I have more. I have like 6 or 7, and I wear them to work every day. So it's bound to. I've been working for 3 years basically with this situation. They're bound to rip, or they're bound to like fray apart or whatever after
Dude, if
some
they're
time.
that expensive, they shouldn't.
Yeah, but
I have some
it's
Gap
like
khakis that have
athletic
been
wear,
lasting me
dude.
for like 6 years.
It's like athletic wear. Like I'd be wearing it to golf. I'd be wearing it to whatever, and I'll always bring it. I'll be like, yeah, there's like a small hole in the crotch area, and they're like, yeah, just go replace it with a new pair. So that's what I do like about them. But I got like a pair I got to bring in right now. That's why I brought it up. But anyways,
Next life enhancer.
Yeah.
Something I've been ripping lately. You guys probably know what MyFitnessPal is. It's the easiest way for people to track their calories and all that shit, which also was a very, I guess, existential crisis moment because I re-downloaded the app and it said the last time I used it was 2013, 12 fucking years ago, which is goddamn insane that I was even thinking about tracking calories 12 years ago.
you were 13,
Makes me
tracking
feel
calories.
yeah, which
I think I had the same phase though. It was like when you were like, I'm gonna take high school sports real serious.
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat beef and rice, and I'm gonna get this grinded. I'm gonna go play in college. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
D1, D2.
Yeah, really
I
grinding
did
for
the
that
same
shit.
thing because when I was a senior, this is the only time I've ever tracked my calories. But I thought I was gonna play college football. I got a big frame, I got a big shoulders, and I low key broke the high school tackling record, like 93 tackles my senior year. Or whatever.
That's pretty good. You're putting up Bobby Wagner numbers, especially in a 9-game season. That's pretty fucking good.
Right? It's like 10 a game.
Yeah.
But fucking anyways, I thought I was going to play, and I was like, I need to put on lean mass. So I was just eating chicken breasts and beef, like a beef roast, and I would just cook a roast and then eat it throughout the week with rice. That was like my first taste of meal prepping, which was just terrible. But how did you figure out how many calories you want to go for at Target?
I did a calculator. Like I said, I've done it before, and once you do it long enough, you have a good gist of how many calories are in things. So I think you really only need to do it for about a month, and then you know. But coming back to it, because I've been grinding in the gym, I don't eat a lot, so I was curious, what's going on with my diet? Why am I not losing weight? It all boils down to the fact that 3 days out of the week, give or take, I'm adding in about 1,500 calories of beer. That takes a toll on you. So the one thought process I had, now that I've been tracking and I'm seeing that I'm only eating like 1,500 calories a day, minus my workout,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So my
Right.
goal of calories for the day is 1,700 plus my workouts.
That's low,
Typically
though.
averages out to I'm having about 1,500 calories a day. Not that much. The beer's cooking me. So I was thinking about switching to a less caloric alcoholic beverage like tequila soda, but I hate that. So the only other option is I have to start doing Fent.
Yeah. Do you lose weight on Fent?
No, but there's no calories in Fent. Or I was also thinking maybe there's like fucking 100 calories per citrazine.
I've been seeing this. I've been
It's
seeing this
insane.
thing called the Fent Bet on TikTok, and it's like people that are just recording. Like I saw this guy at Golden Corral. It's a lot of people on the street. Hold my beer for a second. It's literally like people that take fentanyl. Like I don't even know how long after it is, but they'll just be standing up somewhere, and they'll be like holding something. So actually, give me my beer. Let me see if I can. Yeah, you can kind of see me here. But they'll literally be like this, and they'll take it, and then like 10 minutes later, they'll be stuck, like frozen, like this.
Just mannequin challenge.
Yeah, it's like, that girl is a real crowd pleaser.
Yeah.
Small world, all my friends know me. They know me.
Singing Pod's back.
But it's literally like everybody's just recording. I'm like, oh my God, what is happening?
This
Like,
guy's off the
what is he
motherfucking
doing?
vent, bro.
Yeah.
So all I'm gonna say is, if you guys see me skinny as fuck in 2 weeks and I'm bent over like that, you guys know what went down.
You guys know he's been finding some.
Got that good fat.
You know, I also checked.
What the fuck? This fence cut with something.
Also, not to put anybody on blast, I don't remember names, so we won't bring up names. But you know that. I'm sorry, bro. But you know that it's been famous. It's that thing. It's really not that big anymore. It was like a couple weeks ago, probably a month ago. But I called you and I was like,
chill. Chill.
You were like, what was it, bro? What
It was I'm so hungry I could eat.
Yeah,
blank.
I'm so hungry I could eat. And then insert high school name you found on Facebook here. And Joe's like,
So happened to be a drug dealer at my high school that.
I go, Joe, I'm so hungry I could eat
Yeah.
whatever his name was. And he goes, dude, that was my guy. That was my go-to guy.
Mental deficiency, perhaps, but whatever. Let's,
Great guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good guy.
no,
He's doing
not
well
to
for
bring it
himself.
up. Man, we're getting so sidetracked. But anyways, Joe's going to do Fent. Here's my
Big time.
workaround of tracking calories, because I hate plugging everything in. I hate weighing shit. I hate taking the time to do that. So what I do, and this is a theory I learned from a guy, his name's Alex Hormozy. He's more business entrepreneurship, but also into fitness and stuff. He has this 200 grams of protein method, basically, where anyways, you're supposed to try and get the amount of body weight you want to go for in protein every day.
In grams, yeah.
In grams. So I weigh a lot. I weigh 225. I want to weigh. Well, honestly,
you look
though,
every bit of it.
chill, bro. I when I was in high school, I wanted to be 220. My whole goal is like I would love to be 220 all muscle.
Right.
But I drink too much beer, like Joe said, so I end up 220, 20 pounds of fat. The rest is whatever.
No, it's more than 20 pounds. 20 pounds of fat means you're at 5% body fat. You'd be fucking shredded.
Right, more than that.
You're probably rocking like 60 pounds.
More.
Body fat,
Chill, bro.
I mean, I'm just being honest.
Chill, bro. We've lived together, bro. These veins don't pop out when you're at like that, and you can see the triceps coming in. We're there. But basically, you eat 200 grams of protein. It's so hard to be hungry enough to like eat a bag of chips, eat sweets, eat cookies, whatever. Because you think about it, 200 grams of protein. Capacity. 200 grams of protein, when you simplify it even further, is if you eat 2 pounds of meat. Any type of meat, 1 pound of meat basically equals 100 grams of protein.
Really?
Yes, for most all meats.
Okay.
So what I do and what I have been getting back to, I was doing this last year. I kind of fell off a little bit. I'm getting back to it. I ate 5 pounds of ground beef this week. But basically, if you eat, what I would do is I would do a pound of ground beef for lunch, a pound of ground beef, and a cup of rice. So a cup of rice is like 100, 120 calories or whatever. And then a pound of ground beef, if you're getting the lean shit, it's still like 900 calories.
Makes me think of that video of those kids in the supermarket where they're holding up ground turkey and they're like, it says 80% lean.
80% lean. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. But that's what I would do. So you think about it, and you're eating a pound of ground beef. Let's say it's 900 calories. And then you're eating a cup of rice, 100 calories. And that's your lunch. Usually I eat lunch. That's my first meal of the day. Maybe I have a protein bar before that. So it's 20 grams protein, 200 grams of calories, or what I give or take, maybe 20, 30. So think about it. By lunchtime, I'm at 120 grams of protein. And I had, other than the ground beef, a cup of rice and a protein bar.
Yeah.
So I'm at maybe even more than that. I'm at like 1,000 to 1,200 grams of protein, or grams of calories. Sorry.
You are using a lot of different metrics.
So you do that.
1,000 grams of calories.
No, I didn't mean that. But you're at 1,000 to 1,200 calories, and you're at 100 to 120 grams of protein.
Did you know that Modelo has a gram of protein per beer?
Most beers have a gram, but
you could drink 200 beers.
Yeah,
a day.
I have thought about that before. Like the bad outweighs the good because it also kills you.
Think about how cool it would be if you drink 200
kills
beers.
Your I forget what it's called, but it's like how your muscles recover. It kills it. Like you literally, your muscles don't recover.
Hypertrophy?
Yeah, hypertrophy.
Hypertrophy?
Yeah, it kills that shit.
Yeah.
So
we know all about that shit and lactic acid.
So when you think about it, if you were to eat 100 grams of protein by lunch, but really if you sneak in a Fairlife or a protein bar, you're at 120, 130.
Mm-hmm.
You got to figure out how to sneak in 60, 70, which when I get home, it's like, all right, maybe I eat like these protein Pop-Tarts are 20.
Yeah.
I have like these little protein smoothie things that are 10. But I'll do like the dumbest shit of all time. I'll do like shrimp cocktail because shrimp is straight protein. Cocktail sauce is like 10, 20 calories. Shrimp cocktail is great. I'll do my beef bowls are beef rice, but I'll either mustard on a sandwich, sloppy Joe, or I'll do salsa, cottage cheese, which sounds crazy, but it adds so much protein. It's pretty good, healthy for you. Hot sauce, and then you're getting 130 grams of protein out of it. But what I'll do is basically when you get to that 200, think about it. Your 200 grams of protein are basically close to 2,000 calories. For me, I'd be closer to like 2,300, 2,400 for like where I want to be. So you're
trying to get bigger.
I want to stay the same size. I just want to be more lean. So you have the way he does his diet and the way that I like to diet is the 200 gram of protein diet. So you're doing the 2 pounds of meat. And then usually I can't eat meat just by itself. So I usually do some sort of rice, some sort of carb with it. But basically if you do that and you eat 2 pounds, you have 400-ish calories to play around with.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can literally, he goes, I would eat.
That's where you sneak in your little sweet treats.
Yeah, exactly. You sneak in the cookie dough. You sneak in the gummy bears. You sneak in the, like, I'm going to have some pancakes or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you literally have calories that you can just fuck around with and play with. So, like, that's what I do.
That's the funny part about tracking your calories, too, because if I look at it and at the end of the day I feel full, but I'm at 1,300 calories, I'm like, I got 400 more calories. Give me fucking 5 pieces of candy.
Right, exactly.
But anyways, we've been ripping for a while. We're going to the last segment, digesting Cora. First question on this, how many people are using fake student driver bumper stickers on their cars? A lot.
More than you would think of.
Yeah.
If we didn't talk about this would not be talked about ever.
No, it's something that never came to my mind. I don't even think I really believe it fully yet, but Chris has some good talking points about this.
So
Chris has a very nationalistic view on this.
This came up. That's a good way to put it. This came up because, you need another one?
Sure.
This came up because I need
another one, but I don't want another one. I cannot stress, don't buy these.
Yeah, don't buy them. It's actually not that bad, though. It's getting better. No. It's like a shitty, dirty blonde.
Way worse.
But this came up because somebody moved in. They live below me. They park right next to me in the parking lot. We have our assigned spots. Essentially, they're 35 plus. They come home every day. I don't think they're student drivers, what I'll say.
I could be tripping, but my initial point to this was, don't the instructors' cars have the student driver sticker on them?
Yeah.
They could just be teaching student driving with that vehicle.
Okay, but I see them all the time, bro. I see them all the time. You don't drive anymore, so you're not really seeing student driver tickets as much as I am, or stickers as much as I am.
Shit.
But I'm just saying, it's just a fact.
That's fair.
But somebody moved in next to me. They come home every day. They have a student driver ticket on their car. It's like, even if I was a student driver instructor, I would take it off when I drive. I wouldn't want people to be like,
you take off a bumper sticker like that?
No, it's one of the ones that you put on that's like a magnet. Yeah. So,
because the other point I was going to make, what if you just bought a car from a teenager?
Fair.
And then you're like, well, this bumper sticker is permanent, so it's just going to be on my car forever.
But even when I never had a student driver ticket. I never had a student ticket. I know, I don't know why. A sticker. I never had a student driver sticker when I was student driving. I would just use my mom's car, use whatever. And I would just drive it around. So what I think is happening is there's lots of people moving here. Many of the Ubers Joe and I have, it's like, hey, where are you from? And they say, we're from Pakistan, we're from Ethiopia, we're from out of the country. And they're like, I'm like, why'd you move here? And they're like, for opportunity.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, so your opportunity is Uber driving.
It's also funny. Our
Is that what's
driver's
happening?
license is transferable. I know you can just go to a different country and drive, but it's funny that
I
you
don't
wouldn't have
think
to like re-examine.
I think you do have to re-examine.
Oh, you do?
I think.
Dude, well,
think.
some of our fucking Uber drivers, it's like, I got here on Tuesday.
Literally,
How are you
bro.
fucking, how'd
I'm
you
like,
get signed up?
I'm like, can you transfer me to another Uber, please?
Yeah.
Like, this doesn't feel right. But I think that a lot of people out there are people that have come to this country and they think that drivers treat student drivers more cautiously.
Yeah.
And what they don't realize is in America, we're dumb as fuck. And
I would say dumb.
when
Strong.
yeah, we have our opinions and we have our ideas, but basically what I think is happening is all these people are utilizing these student driver tickets, stickers, and they're basically
Big
like,
mental
oh,
block
people
on
will
that.
drive safer around me, people will drive cautious around me, when in reality I'm behind the student driver like, honk, you're not turning left fast enough.
Yeah.
Like, you know, oh, like you're driving 20 in a 35, like, like I'm
Ride
like
their
messing
ass.
with these people more. I'm like, they're usually driving slower, so I'm usually riding them a little bit more. And I'm not even an aggressive driver, but I know that people out there are doing that. And I feel like there should be some sort of law that like that sticker cannot be allowed to be made. Like you have to prove that you're student driving to have that sticker.
It has no bearing though on anybody's life. You can get a bumper sticker that says anything.
I know. Which
Like,
I
for
don't
example,
like.
my parents used to have one. I have an honor roll student at White Lake Middle School. Did your parents ever have that, or were you stupid?
No, it was all sports. It was like all the different teams I was on.
Yeah, all right.
So I was more cool than stupid.
Well,
You were just a loser.
Two-sport varsity athlete, so check yourself.
You were just...
Yeah, I was a
loser
genius and I
boy.
played sports. But fucking next question.
Is Diddy guilty?
No,
Is Diddy guilty?
he's not. Not
Why?
yet.
Why, Joe?
Technically
Why?
speaking, the charges that were brought against him have not been proven in court. They proved some cases or some charges that could be solved in, say, like civil court, but even if not, like a lower tier court. These are all federal charges that are being brought against Diddy, or I should say Sean Combs. We're going to bring out legal names in this, but he has not been proven guilty yet. He could be proven guilty by the time our next episode comes out. But as of right now, he is not guilty of the charges that were brought upon him.
So the charges are racketeering, sex trafficking, transportation to engage in prostitution. He has 2 charges on the transportation one.
Damn.
But basically he could be sentenced to
I could
life.
never get charged with that crime.
That is fact.
Unless I'm ordering Ubers.
You are safe from that crime. Yeah, you're just calling Ubers for all
For
these
somebody to
people.
go get. Yeah.
But basically, I'm going to go off the dome. I've been watching a lot of TikToks. I've been keeping updated. I'm trying to stay with it, but we'll keep it relatively short and sweet. We are long on time here, but essentially, I don't think that it's a federal crime. So these are all federal, which I think is very interesting because the court cannot release this video. They cannot show what's happening in court. It's all up to like these court artists or drawers
which is
that
standard.
do stuff.
They don't allow cameras in a court proceeding.
They
You see
should.
that constantly.
Well, it's only federal.
Well, yeah.
So, but here's where I think it's very interesting for this case is because they're charging him with all these federal crimes. They're charging him with the RICO. They're charging him with trafficking.
Might just get hit with the RICO.
Yeah, the great song, dude.
Diddy's like, fuck.
Meek Mill, such an underrated guy. Music topics to come. We got so much music to talk about.
Speaking of music, Justin Bieber recently came out and said he did not get taken advantage of by P. Diddy.
Well, he said he might testify.
He's also on so many drugs right now.
He said he might
Have you
testify.
seen those live streams?
Yes.
He's just coked out of his fucking mind like, nah, Diddy ain't do shit.
He actually doesn't like the...
He's in a bad spot.
no, he is like considering...
Yeah.
whatever. So...
Well, to him, I should have said.
So
Yeah.
essentially, the main points I'm going to tell Joe. Joe hasn't been keeping up on it as much as I have. But there's
I
been
focus on the real shit,
at
like the
this
world
point-
ending by magnetic fields.
at this point we're about a week or 2 in. to the case and to the trial. There's been a few people I've testified. So the main person that testified is Cassie. I just showed Joe her music.
Initial trash ass music. I'm just saying objectively, I did not care for her music. That has no bearing on the case.
Basically, they were together for years. It was kind of his girl. But he would make her perform in these freak-offs.
Freak-off
is what you would call it, which sounds fun. So,
I mean,
with no context, a freak-off is something me and Joe would consider.
Subscribe to the OnlyFans.
Going to. So, he has these freak-offs, basically nice-ass hotel rooms, all these different states, Vegas, and I forget where else, New York, and whatever. So, he goes to these nice little hotels, and he hires a male, a male escort.
Yeah, we call them bulls in the industry.
Male bull.
Dom.
Somebody reportedly testified that Diddy's wee-wee is the size of a Tootsie Roll.
Yikes. I'm assuming not the long Halloween ones.
That's exactly what my girl asked. She goes, the long one or the short one? I go, does it even matter? The girth is a problem either way.
Yeah.
So
it's a problem.
Somebody testified that, but basically the main testimony right now is that Cassie has testified she's very pregnant. They had to get her off the stand because she might go into labor. But
funny time to start the trial, right when she's about to burst with a baby. Imagine giving birth at the Diddy trial.
That's wild. Her husband was in the room. Diddy had his kids in the room, which is crazy to me with what I'm about to say.
He probably thinks they will treat him better. It's like, oh, you'll lighten up on what you're about to say if you see my children.
But what I'm about to say, you wanting to have your kids in the room for this is crazy stuff.
Which we should say, he's not a good guy.
No, we never thought he was.
Yeah, so like this makes sense. We're just saying, we're making the argument that what he is getting charged with in federal court has not been proven yet. Fact or fact.
Exactly. So I think that they've proven DV. I think that they've proven that
That's factual. The video is for sure evidence of
very damning. Yeah. But basically the main testimony is they had the security guard come on first. There's that footage in the hotel of him like hitting her, and then
he said,
what has come out, they've also had, I think, one or two of the escorts testify, and basically you would go to these hotels,
which is also whack, because I never understand how somebody that committed a crime can go testify against somebody else for committing a worse crime. If you're involved in prostitution, it's like, damn.
Some of them one of the escorts got arrested a few years ago, and he like tried to rat on Diddy 3 years ago, but they were just like, dude, we're just arresting you. We're just arresting you for being a prostitute.
Yeah.
Like, we're not arrested. Like, you can't just get out of this by saying you were a prostitute for Diddy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Okay.
But basically, they have Cassie testifying. Cassie basically is saying, hey, we had these freak-offs in these hotels. There was one time that I tried to escape because one of my songs was going to premiere and I needed to be there and I needed to be in good conscience. At these freak-offs, he would have MDMA, he would have shrooms, he'd have like GHB. They were basically all on drugs. GHB. But it was literally, I don't know what GHB is. I think it's just like crazy weed. But Diddy would be in the corner. This is my favorite part. Diddy would be in the corner of a hotel room, and he didn't want these sex workers to know who he was. So he would sit in the corner. He would only wear a towel around his waist. He would have a bandana from the nose down. Like, you know how they wear the bandanas like that instead of like on the head?
Yeah.
And then he would have like a New York baseball cap on. And he would sit there like in like a nice seat like this. And then he would hire a sex worker because he had a small pee-pee. So the sex worker would have like the biggest pee-pee of all time. And then the sex worker would have sex with his girl, and he would, at times, Joe, these went for 4 days. These freak-offs went for 4 days long.
God damn.
And essentially, Cassie was the main girl, but he would do it with a lot of other people too. And then what would happen is after the male escort would finish, which Diddy always decided when he would finish, but And also, the whole room had to be covered in baby oil. They found 1,000 bottles of baby oil at his home when they raided it when he got arrested.
Damn, slip and slide.
People think that he was putting coke in baby oil. People think that he was putting drugs in there. That's why it's kind of a point of contention. But anyways, he would cover the whole room. Like, all the chairs would be covered. All the people would be covered, like, whatever. And then when the male escort would finish, he would be like, to his girl, he'd be like, let's go in another room. And then let's think of a funny word for what comes out of you when you finish. But
sparkles.
Yeah, when the sparkles would occur, he would be like, yo, Cassie, we got to go to another room. And then they go in another room, and he would literally put all the sparkles on his nips, bro. He'd be like, put it on me. Put it on me.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like this.
So, like, no matter what, he's weird and he's a freak. Die. And, like, it's, like, messed up. And, like, you can't make people do that.
Can't say that on YouTube. He should unalive.
Yeah. Pause on that. But basically, like, it's proven that he's a messed up guy. It's proven that he's done wrong. It's proven that, like, yes, he did what's wrong, but none of these cases have been proven. It's just been proven.
Yeah. Like, where's the racketeering, the sex trafficking,
right,
and all that?
Right.
Like,
so what I do find fascinating is they just handed the jury, this is like yesterday, all the drugs from this place, and they were like,
take these.
They're like we're
gonna take you to a hotel.
Very like pre-packaged.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of it, and it's pre-packaged, and it's like, was he trying to use these people to distribute the drugs? I don't know. There's going to be other people that he did this with that are also going to testify. At this moment in time, the reason I want to bring it up is I don't think Diddy is guilty based off what has happened in the case right now.
For the charges that are in the current federal court.
Right.
Yeah, he's guilty of a lot of shit.
But the shit that they're talking about, no. The shit that he's on trial for, no.
I think it was a very sensationalized celebrity story, which, again, we could be wrong, and we'll update again in the next episode. But as of right now, it feels like a very sensationalized celebrity story where they want to make it be as dramatic as possible and loop as many people in as possible. When at the end of the day, I think he was just a bad guy.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's like he was a sketchy guy, and yes, he had a position of power, and people would listen to him and do what he said. But they also were like, if I date Diddy, I'm going to have the best life of all time. So, like, there's text from all the victims or whatever that are basically saying them wanting to do this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I'm craving it. I want to go back. And it's like, all right, well, that's paraphrasing, by the way. I don't know if it's true.
We don't victim shame, but there is an element where it does not seem coercive. But you never know. The trial's still unfolding, and we'll take another stab at it next week to see where we lie.
Right. Next week, bro, that's it. That's what we got. And I mean, at the end of the day, that's about it. I mean, that's really the main points of the argument. But I don't think that the defense and the government's done a great enough job to prove him guilty of the charges he's on trial for.
Yeah.
Right? Like, yes, he's guilty of a lot of things, and he should still go to jail, but
for life, for sure. He's still a really bad guy.
Yes, but they haven't proven what he's on trial for. So
it's more so the thing you look into it and everybody thinks is this whole Hollywood conspiracy.
Is Diddy guilty? Not yet.
Of the federal charges.
And how many people are using fake student driver stickers?
Every person from Indonesia that comes over here.
Yeah, at least 10%. At least 10% of the U.S. drivers.
But hell of an episode. I hope you guys learned lots, and we'll see you guys in a couple weeks.